Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this insane first game of football. And I am so pissed off at myself for not sticking with my gut and picking the underdog in this because I just so damn well knew that Florida State was not winning this game. And the only thing that changed my mind was the fact that this game was not, in fact, at Georgia Tech. It was at Ireland, and that was the only thing that changed it. That was what changed in my head. But we've got a lot of things to talk about in this game. A lot of things. First off, the big I don't know what the big problem. DJ, I think I said last video last night, I said his name was Ugundala. I think it's DJ Uyagundale or something like that. I still don't know. I'm going to continue to call him Ugali Balls. He went 19 for 27, 193 yards. He delivered very, very clutch fourth down passes and actually fairly drove this team well. And it showed life for Florida State and the capability for DJ Ugundala or Ugali Balls. You know, I really thought this guy was going to have like 2 turnovers in a hideous game, and it was going to be the defense just stomping Georgia Tech. That just wasn't the case. It was a defensive game like I said it would be. You know, I thought at first it was going to start off being a pretty offensive finish, but, I mean, Florida State looked pretty fucking hideous in this game. They're still going to be like a solid team, but this team has just went ahead and turned themselves around, and we're looking at a college football playoff spot, are now probably looking at a 4-loss team after this performance. Starting off the year with a loss to Georgia Tech is so hideous for this program. Man, I fucking knew it. I told everybody I know that I smell an upset, and I came home yesterday and was like, let's make a video, and I figured out it was in Ireland, and I was like, damn it, it just changed my opinion, and I thought that they weren't going to have that home field, and they weren't going to win it. Doesn't matter. They won it in Ireland. It does not matter. Georgia Tech won it in Ireland, and this game was insanely, like, it was so up and down. Georgia Tech had a massive fumbling problem that they lucked out. And, I mean, they only looked to improve that, and they got lucky that they won this game, sort of, because they dropped the ball straight up on the field. They just dropped it twice, and they were lucky enough to pounce on it both times. The second time, which was almost detrimental to the whole game, the second time, it just was a receiver ran in front of the snap. It bonked off of him, and Haynes King had to pick it up and try to make something from nothing. Ended up being an 11-yard loss. Now, at least that one, there was plenty of reaction time for Haynes King, but still a massive loss and a terrible, terrible mistake. But earlier, there was a fumble in which it was a read option, and Haynes King tried to pull it back from the running back, but the running back just gripped it out of his hands, and it straight up just plopped on the floor. And Haynes King made a great play getting the ball back out of there away from an easy Florida State recovery. And then an offensive lineman got lucky and pretty much pounced on it instead of the other FSU players. But, like, those were the only mistakes from Georgia Tech. Other than defensively just not being able to stop Florida State on fourth down conversions, that was their only problem. But ultimately, opening the game, Florida State looked like they were going to dominate. You open up with a touchdown and a 2-point conversion on a 28-yard run as well. The run game looked great. The run game looked great. And from that point on, it was just horrendous. And it made Georgia Tech look fabulous. And maybe they are fabulous, you know? But the real specialty in this game, the real specialty was Jamal Haynes. This kid is special. He was fabulous this game. 11 carries, 75 yards, 2 touchdowns. I don't even know if he caught any in in the flat or something. Jamal Haynes, let's see, receiving. He had 2 receptions for 16 yards as well to put that on top of his stats. That puts him at 91 total yards. And I mean, it was a great game for him, as well as Haynes King, the quarterback, was 11 for 16 over the air, which was better than DJ Ugondola, who was only throwing it in the flat unless it was fourth downs. I mean, he was barely throwing the ball down the field, and when he did, he was overthrowing his targets. Haynes King went 11 for 16, 146 yards. He averaged 9.1 yards over the air. And rushing, Haynes King had 15 carries for 54 yards. Average of 3.6, not the best, but when you're a quarterback running the read option, it stings. And ultimately, Florida State was being held in this game by fourth down conversions. Georgia Tech even missed a field goal in this game, a 51-yarder. And, I mean, the kicker had his chance to redeem himself, and he did not miss. But Florida State kept the game alive with fourth down conversions. Though the final touchdown they scored to tie it 21-all had two very long fourth down conversions, very questionable fourth down conversions that they converted. And that's where I say their specialty was in DJ Ugondola or Ugali balls. And where I think as a Florida State fan, even with this horrible loss, you should maybe have a bit of faith in your quarterback. He looked calm in those situations. He looked he was there. He was there to deliver the passes, and he put together a really clutch drive at the end. However, it's just like when it was in the game, he couldn't make anything happen. He looked very slow and lost in the pocket. Only times he was really ever throwing the ball were short dump-off passes that would end up being ran by the receiver to make up all their yards. And it was just not good offense from Florida State. Georgia Tech took this one with a last-second video. I posted it on my shorts. I recorded it. And my reaction, Georgia Tech wins this one 24-21. I'd say I had a pretty damn good prediction. 28-17 in Florida State's favor, was in the right direction, just the wrong team. I think I had this game kind of locked down. I really just wish nobody would have told me that this game was being played in Ireland. If I would have had the delusion of this being at Georgia Tech, I would have picked Georgia Tech, no question. It was when I figured out they were playing in Ireland, I questioned it. And I was like, well, that changes a lot because it's not Georgia Tech home field. But, I mean, Georgia Tech looked like the better team. That was also the thing. Florida State had some very clutch Georgia Tech penalties that kept drives alive. And ultimately, Florida State only had one holding call on them. Well, two in the same play. One holding call, though, because they only accepted one. That was hideous and obvious. But that was it. They were very calm in the penalty game. So was Georgia Tech, but Georgia Tech came in when Florida State needed them the most. Literally a face mask on a sack on a 3rd and 15 to just completely change the momentum and keep Florida State in the ball game. Florida State had a lot of stuff go their way, but Georgia Tech had their fair share as well. Florida State just had more little things go their way, whereas Georgia Tech had two specifically major things go their way, a.k.a. two fumbles on the ground that they picked up. It was the name of Georgia Tech's game today was the running game, 190 yards of rushing. They weren't bad in the air either. They just mainly stuck to the ground, and Georgia Tech off to a fabulous start. Off to an absolutely fabulous start. You can watch my prediction video if you believe that I'm crazy or I'm just talking out of my ass. I really thought this Georgia Tech team stood a chance. I thought they stood a pretty damn good chance. They sure as hell did. They sure as hell did. What a performance today. What a start to the college football year, man. I mean, do not blink twice at any football team this year. Do not blink twice. It's anybody's ball game this year. Everybody wants to say Georgia, Oregon, Ohio State have got this national championship in the bag. I would say don't blink twice. You don't be surprised when just anybody makes it up there. So I plan on doing my ACC predictions next, I guess, since this game already occurred. Although, since I'm posting this, just know if you made it this far. Obviously, my Georgia Tech and Florida State predictions are going to be a bit altered. Now, I will say for Georgia Tech, I was going to have them being pretty good this year. I had faith in this team already. I just never got around to making any prediction videos other than the Big 12, mainly because that thumbnail took me so long to make, and I kind of feel like I need to put the same effort into the thumbnails, but it's taken too long and no motivation that I'm just going to do fart thumbnails. And Florida State's prediction will be altered by this. They're probably dropping down to a 4 or 5 loss team this year. In my opinion, Ugali Balls, he was clutch on the fourth down plays. He delivered when he needed to, but also he didn't deliver when he needed to. Throughout the whole game, he was relatively absent, and Georgia Tech definitely took advantage of this. And what a first win for Georgia Tech. And it's poetic. It's poetic of what this season's going to be like. It's the start of chaos. But that's all for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. A like and subscribe would help. A comment always helps. Tell me if you predicted that Georgia Tech was going to win this game, or if you thought one was overrated or whatnot, or if you attended the damn football game. Whatever, just comment and talk to me. A like and subscribe would help. A comment always helps. That's all for me. Adios.